Hello students, welcome back to the class. Today's topic is infertility, its various causes and the techniques and methods to overcome infertility, which is called as assisted reproductive technology ART. So let us start today's topic. Let us see the definition of infertility first. It is the inability of a sexually active non-contracepting couple to achieve pregnancy in 1 year of regular unprotected sexual intercourse. This means the couple is trying to conceive, to have conception without undergoing any contraception technique. In this condition, the normal fertilization process is not occurring, and the failure of fertilization results in the failure of conception. There are various causes of infertility. The causes can be with the female or can be with male, and some are unexplained. Even though female and male are medically fine, they undergo tests and nothing abnormal is found in them, then also the couple is infertile. They are unable to reproduce. So these are the unexplained causes. Female causes are amenorrhea, that is absence of ovulation and menstrual cycle. This can be irregular menstrual cycle also. Tubal defect, the defect in the fallopian tube, if the tubes are blocked, so the passage of ovum is not clear. Endometriosis, the overgrowth of endometrium, and other reasons like hormonal disbalance and other things. Male causes are hypogonadism, that is reduced functional activity of the sex organs. Then disordered sperm transport, the transportation of sperm is not proper, and unknown causes that can be due to some rudimentary lifestyles. So we'll discuss the causes in male and female in detail now. Female infertility causes are ovulation disorders like aging, diminished ovarian reserve. This means the ovarian reserve, in lesson number 3 we had studied that the primary follicles are fixed in the female, right? It is fixed before the birth of the girl child. In fetal condition only, the ovarian reserve, the reserve of follicles is fixed. So this can be low, very low in the female, and this can result in amenorrhea in a very early age. Premature ovarian failure, that means due to hormonal disbalance or any other trauma, the ovarian maturation, that is every month the ovulation which occurs, that gradually stops. The menopause is coming earlier in the age of 30 or 40, like that. Endocrine disorders like PCOS. PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. On the ovary there is overgrowth of the tissues which form cysts, and these cysts do not allow the hormonal regulation in a proper way, which leads to amenorrhea or other disorders. The tubal causes, that is the defects or any abnormalities in the fallopian tubes. Pelvic inflammatory diseases like inflammation and swelling in the tubes, and these are also signs of infection which has reached upwards through the uterus. Tubal surgery, if somebody has undergone tubal surgery because of some growing tumors or any overgrowth inside the fallopian tube. Previous ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy means where the implantation of the blastocyst occurs in the fallopian tube itself. So in that condition, what happens, the fallopian tube is damaged and the female has to undergo surgery to remove that damaged portion of the fallopian tube. Next one is uterine or cervical causes. Congenital uterine anomaly. This means since the birth only if there is any defect in the structure of uterus, like it is septate or tilted. Then fibroids, abnormal tissue growth in the uterus. Endometriosis, this is the abnormal growth of endometrial lining even outside the uterus. It is supposed to have the growth inside it, but it is also growing outside the uterus towards ovary. This can also be one of the reasons. Then poor cervical mucus quantity or quality. During the fertile window, the favorable cervical mucus is released, which allows the sperm to swim upwards towards the isthmic ampullary junction for fertilization. But if the cervical mucus during that time is hostile or very thick, there won't be passage of sperms so smooth, and the various infections in the female reproductive tract is one of the major causes, we can say, for infertility. The male infertility causes are the main one is testicular causes like radiations, exposure to radiations like x-rays, trauma of testes, any physical injury in the testicles. Varicocele means the swelling of or inflammation of the veins in the testicles or the lining of scrotum. Inflammation of testes, low testosterone, which results in low spermatogenesis, and this results in low sperm count, and abnormal sperm morphology, that is the morphology of sperm is not the normal one, having two tails or two heads. This we had discussed in lesson 3 also during the topic structure of sperm. Hypogonadism, it is the reduced functional activity of the gonads, the sex organs, which results due to the dysfunctional activity of pituitary secretions and hypothalamus, low gonadotropin releasing hormone, and low FSH and LH, altered sperm transport. The sperm transport is not normal, the normal pathway is not followed. That is because of obstruction of epididymis. If there is any blockage in epididymis, or obstruction of vas deferens, that is if the vas deferens is blocked somewhere, then erectile dysfunction, that is the disability of maintaining an erection of male genital organ. Then retrograde ejaculation means very low semen ejaculated. Other causes may be drug addiction or bad lifestyle habits like smoking and indulging in alcohol and everything. So these are the few common infertility causes in males and females. Now we'll discuss the various technologies and techniques which are very much helpful in achieving pregnancy in such cases of infertility. These are called as ART, assisted reproductive technology. It is defined as the technology or techniques which are used to achieve pregnancy in procedures such as fertility medication, artificial insemination, in vitro fertilization, and even surrogacy. Fertility therapies are employed in this, where eggs and sperm are manipulated. It involves surgically removing eggs from women and combining them with sperm in the laboratory, which is called as in vitro, which is done artificially is in vitro. So these are the various techniques sequentially written. First one is IUI, that is intrauterine insemination. Insemination means to seminate, to deposit the semen, where inside the uterus, inside the uterine cavity. That is why it is called as intrauterine insemination. IVF, it is in vitro fertilization. That means fertilization is done in vitro, inside the lab or artificially. ET is embryo transfer. Once the embryo is formed after in vitro fertilization, it is transferred back to the uterus. ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. I'll explain all these points in detail. Then ZIFT, it is zygote intrafallopian transfer. GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. And if all these techniques also fail to have conception, then in that case also the couple can go for surrogacy. This is for your extra knowledge. Surrogacy, it is not included in NCERT, but you should have an idea of this. So let us start understanding these techniques one by one. The first one is artificial insemination. What happens in this is, it is a non-surgical process where the ovaries are stimulated with hormones like FSH hormones are given. What will be the result? The follicles will be stimulated to produce eggs. So there can be multiple eggs production also, but the ovulation circle will be determined. It will be calculative. The second step is, through ultrasounds, the size and quantity of each follicle is monitored. Through the intake of another hormone, we trigger the egg release. The egg is released. These are done by fertility specialists. They give the hormone for ovulation. The ovary releases an egg, and this egg reaches to the junction where fertilization occurs, and during that time insemination is done artificially. The semen sample is collected, it is purified. The sperm sample is obtained from the donor who has carried out a complete medical study. Before taking the sample, the various tests are done. Then these semen are purified and they are loaded in a cannula, and it is inserted inside the uterus. You can see that in the diagram. This way, what is done? Inseminating the uterus. And once the semen reaches to the upper part of the uterus, they can travel towards the egg and fertilization can occur in the oviduct. This treatment is recommended where hereditary diseases in men is there, like low sperm count or any kind of disorder, male infertility, failure of the testis to produce sperm, or sperm quality is not good, and women without a male partner also can undergo artificial insemination after getting the semen from a donor and can conceive. The next technique is in vitro fertilization. It is used as a remedy for infertility, and what is done in this is a woman's egg cells are combined with the man's sperm cells outside the uterus, that is in a petri dish or in a test tube, and the fertilization will occur. This will result in formation of zygote, and the zygote can be reinserted in the uterus, or it can be grown till it forms embryo, and that embryo can be inserted in the uterus by embryo transfer process. This is also called as test tube baby program. As the baby is not growing in test tube, it is only the fertilization which is taken place in the test tube or a petri dish. And once the zygotes are formed, as zygotes are still very delicate and they are vulnerable for disintegration, so they are grown till embryos in vitro condition, and then it is inserted inside the woman's uterus. Let us see the step. The first one, the woman is given hormone treatment to stimulate egg production. Here FSH hormones are given so that multiple eggs are formed, and these multiple eggs are taken from the woman's ovaries through a minor surgery, and then the eggs are mixed with the sperm cells in the lab in a cultural dish or petri dish or the test tube, and fertilization process occurs. The fertilized eggs or embryos are placed in an incubator for about 48 hours for the cell division processes, and the embryos are implanted in the woman's uterus or frozen for future implanting. The reinsertion of embryos or ET, embryo transfer, can be done just after the formation of embryos, or they can be frozen under cryopreservation method. In that method, sperms can also be frozen under sperm freezing. For that, liquid nitrogen is required and a very low temperature has to be maintained. This way, the formed embryos or the sperms can be frozen for a longer period of time. So if IUI fails, the person 3 times attempt is there for IUI. If the couple is not conceiving in the 3 attempts of IUI, they can approach for IVF, and this is the plan of embryo transfer. IVF procedure is carried out by retrieving the eggs after stimulating the ovaries. Then fertilization occurs. Once the embryos are formed, the embryos are transferred through a cannula inside the uterus. What happens in IVF is the fusion of sperm and egg occurs artificially in a culture medium. But even if the fusion inside the culture medium in the lab or in the test tube fails, then the next technique which can be utilized is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. In short, ICSI. Intra means within, cytoplasmic means inside the cytoplasm of egg. Sperm is directly injected in the cytoplasm. That is called as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Once the sperm enters the cytoplasm, there is no other option of not getting fused. So there will be fusion of the sperm nucleus with the egg nucleus for sure. This can be helpful in intensive male infertility, low sperm count, even less than 15 to 20 million per milliliter, low motility of sperm, poor sperm morphology, previous failed IVF procedure due to unsuccessful fertilization, couples having low eggs for fertilization, use of frozen sperms using embryo testing. The ovum is injected with a single sperm taken from the male partner's sperm after purification. A special needle is used to go through the wall of the egg. The microneedle is used. and the sperm is introduced into the cytoplasm of the egg. You can see the diagram which is given below. Inside the egg cytoplasm, the sperm is released, and there will be ultimately the fusion of sperm nucleus with the egg nucleus. This is ICSI. The next two techniques are GIFT and ZIFT. The full form of GIFT is gamete intrafallopian transfer, and ZIFT is zygote intrafallopian transfer. By the name only you can understand, in GIFT the gametes are transferred in the fallopian tube through the infundibulum. You can see in the diagram. It involves the transfer of both sperm and unfertilized oocyte into the fallopian tube. This allows the fertilization to naturally occur in vivo. It is not artificially done. What is done? Only the gametes are being transferred in the fallopian tube through the infundibulum, and fusion will occur there naturally. That is why in vivo. 2 oocyte along with 2 to 5 lakhs motile sperms are placed in a plastic tube container. Then oocyte sperm combination is injected into the distal end of the fallopian tube. This is GIFT. Now let us see ZIFT. It combines aspects of both IVF and GIFT. Fertilization takes place outside the uterus and placed into the fallopian tubes. First, the IVF procedure is done for fertilization, and then it is placed in the fallopian tubes. Protocols for ovarian stimulation are similar to those in IVF. Eggs are collected and fertilized by the male partner's sperm in the laboratory. Then the zygote is transferred to the fallopian tube within 24 hours when it is at one cell stage. If all these techniques fail, so after that also there is one method, one way of conceiving the biological child through surrogacy. What happens here is the endometrial preparation is done by ovarian stimulation. The FSH is given and endometrium thickness is maintained by giving the progesterone. Then the eggs which are formed are retrieved. They are taken out through a minor surgery. Then IVF is done and the embryo is transferred into the surrogate mother. In the other mother, the donor of uterus. Here the mother's womb will be different. Sperm and egg will be from the couple, but the uterus, the womb, the shelter of the fetus, the home for the fetus will be of another woman. And then if embryo transfer is done and after that pregnancy is confirmed, then the surrogacy is successful. There were actually earlier many disadvantages of surrogacy, because the people who were involved, the females who were involved in surrogacy, were into a kind of business deal. The agents who used to bring those girls or women from remote village areas in the promise of jobs and other things, they were indulged in surrogacy, and for that the agents and such kinds of agencies were demanding huge amount of money from the couple who were desperate of having a baby, and the surrogate mother used to get hardly 2 to 5% of that money. So to stop this practice, our government, the existing government, came with a very strict rules and regulation of the surrogacy agreement, where it says the surrogate mother has to be an immediate relative of the couple. The surrogate mother, who's the woman who is ready for surrogacy, should have one child from her husband, so that there won't be any kind of blackmailing at the end of the gestation period. and there has to be some legal agreements done, and no involvement of money is there. Only unless and until the surrogate mother is receiving any kind of amount from the couple from their wish. So here we finish our lesson number 4, reproductive health, and with this we also finish our first unit, reproduction in organisms. In this unit we learned about modes of reproduction in organisms. Then we learned about the sexual reproduction which occurs in plants, flowering plants, then the mechanism of reproduction in humans, and the different aspects and related problems and strategies with the reproductive capability of the humans. Thank you.